There's something happening in the Middle East right now, and most of the world is missing it. We're watching Ukraine, we're watching Gaza, but behind that noise, Iran just launched missiles at a US base in Qatar, and again at Israel, less than a week ago. We've also seen US bombers strike Iran's nuclear facilities. What started in shadows is now out in the open. Missiles, drones, proxies, nuclear brinkmanship. Iran is orchestrating a strategy that could spark a global confrontation, and the consequences will be felt everywhere. Iran doesn't enter wars directly, it builds influence through a shadow network. Hezbollah in Lebanon, the Houthis in Yemen, the Popular Mobilization Forces in Iraq, Hamas in Gaza. These aren't just ideological allies, they're armed, trained and coordinated by Iran's Quds force. On June the 28th, the Houthis launched a ballistic missile at Israel. It was intercepted, but the message was unmistakable. Iran's enemies can be struck from multiple directions at any time. Its real power isn't just in Tehran, it's in the hands of its proxies. Meanwhile, Iran is getting dangerously close to a nuclear weapon. Its uranium enrichment has reached 60%, and according to Western analysts, it's just 3 weeks from having enough for a bomb. In response, the US and Israel launched Operation Midnight Hammer. 6 American B-2 bombers struck Iran's most sensitive nuclear sites, Fordow, Natanz and Isfahan, with bunker-bursting bombs. Iran didn't hesitate to retaliate. 6 missiles were fired at the AI Uridid US airbase in Qatar, none hit. But then, a much larger barrage rained down on southern Israel, injuring civilians and rattling nerves across the region. While Iran looks outward, it's cracking from within. Inflation is over 50%, blackouts hit major cities, youth unemployment is soaring. In 2022, the death of Mahsa Amini sparked mass protests. Women burned hijabs, students defied armed police. The government responded with violence, arrests, internet blackouts, midnight raids. Now, Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei is 86. There's no clear successor. The regime is aging, the streets are restless, and a power vacuum could change everything. So where does Iran go when the West imposes sanctions and isolation? East. Iran is now exporting drones to Russia, used in Ukraine. In return, Moscow sends tech and satellite support. China has become a broker, helping Iran and Saudi Arabia restart diplomatic ties in 2023. Iran is now a BRICS member. These aren't random alliances, they're strategic. Tehran is reaving itself into a new global order, one not led by the US. Now imagine how this unravels. Israel hits Iran again, Iran responds through Hezbollah and the Houthis. US bases are targeted, oil tankers are sunk in the Strait of Hormuz. The global oil supply crashes, markets dive. Or Iran crosses the nuclear threshold. Then Saudi Arabia follows, Turkey, Egypt. The Middle East becomes nuclear, not in theory, but in fact. We've always talked about World War III as a hypothetical, but today it feels one miscalculation away. This isn't just about Iran, it's about how the old balance of power is shifting, how global alliances are fraying. It's about what happens when we look away, and the silence is filled with missiles. The next war might not start with a grand announcement, it could start with a single drone, a single misfire, a single decision. And by the time we realise it, it may already be too late. Subscribe if you want to keep watching how the world turns, one map, one missile, one moment at a time.